spots, they're horrible nightmares.
Services and support that can help are available for veterans.
I went to the VA, talked to my doctor.
I started doing groups. I started doing one-on-one counseling.
We found ways to move past these challenges for ourselves and for our families. At MakeTheConnection.net, you can hear our stories and find tools and services available to you.
The more I talk to people, family, friends, other vets, the better I feel.
Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 66, and Wednesday a chance of showers with a high of 87. Celebrate the 4th of July with the freshest ingredients in town. Market Fresh Minnesota, located just south of Rosedale Mall in Roseville on Fairview Avenue. And Shanghai International Wholesale Market on Pryor Avenue in St. Paul, just north of University. Find everything you need: meat, seafood, fruits, and vegetables.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you very much for joining us on this Tuesday. And not only is it just a Tuesday, it is the first day of July, as the year is going by very, very, very quickly. And it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I love the 4th of July. We're getting into that. We'll be talking a little bit in the program how we're going to look at the rest of the week. I'm really excited. We have some great shows lined up, and this one is going to be fantastic. And tonight I wanted, I had debated quite a bit actually about how to approach tonight's show, because the thing about it is that I didn't want to turn this into like a spectacle, because this is normalcy for my guest, and I didn't want to, I really wanted to be careful about how to approach it. And the good thing is, from what I know about Meg, and we're going to introduce her in a second, is that she's pretty open to questions. She's pretty open. I think she'd rather have questions than not, instead of people just creating like their own idea of things or whatever else. And I think that the conversation is going to be very good. And why am I tiptoeing, right? Our guest tonight is Meghan Williams. She is part of the paranormal group Spooky Society. She's a paranormal investigator. She is also blind. And the thing that we want, immediately I'm just so fascinated, and I want to know all about her style of investigating, her gifts, everything that makes her excited about the paranormal. I want to know all about that, and I thought that everybody would find it a fascinating conversation as well. And we are going to open up to questions in the comments as well as we go along. If there's something that you want to ask Meg, we can do so. Meg, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Thank you. Glad to be here. And with it being the first of the month, it's also my birthday. So I am excited to get to celebrate my birthday with you and everybody that's listening.
Today is your birthday?
Today is my birthday.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
Yes.
do you not have friends, and that the
They're
best you could do is
listening.
be on this show? I mean,
They're listening. I thought, you know what? What's a great way to end my birthday? Well, back up. I celebrate my whole birthday month. So this is the
oh, good,
kickoff.
good.
But I thought it'd be fun to do your show and share about myself on my birthday. So
That's the pro way of doing it, isn't it? Having the whole birthday month, and
yes.
so once again, that's great. Happy birthday to
Thanks.
you, Meg. You know, I first met Meg way back in January. There
Mhm.
is this thing we talked about called the Para Fair at the time over at the Anderson Hotel in Wabasha, Minnesota, and met her and her team. All of them wonderful, wonderful people. It was really exciting. It's exciting to talk to people who are really excited about paranormal investigating. And it's always nice for, I think, some of us who've been doing it for, 300 years, that it's nice to be reminded about what makes it exciting and what makes it fun. And
Mhm.
right away, I figured that this would be a great conversation to have. Meg, I'm going to ask though,
Mhm.
have you been blind your whole life?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. So technically, I have low vision. So I was
Oh,
born
vision.
with a rare congenital eye disease that's from a recessive gene that my mom and dad were carriers of and had no idea. And so my sister, who is deceased, and I both had it, but my half sisters are carriers. So it's called cone rod dystrophy or cone rod degeneration. So
Okay.
essentially, my retinas are deteriorating, and it's not a matter of if I'm going to go blind, but when. And so, my vision, even in the past year has deteriorated more. So I'm considered legally blind, or I joke and say illegally blind. So,
Well, okay, and here's the thing too. I mean, I don't know if I were you and I listened to like my tiptoeing in the intro, do you find that sort of thing annoying? Because this is your life. This is
yeah.
this is your normal. This is you're just living your life, and people, if you listen to someone like the way I said it, it's almost like a spectacle. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just
I don't see this as a spectacle. I would rather people come from a place of respect and curiosity
yeah,
than assumptions. And
yeah.
so, I mean, you saw me at the Anderson house walking around. I totally, face planted into the fake fireplace.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then everybody was like, oh, and then like instant guilt. And it's like, no, like I wasn't using my cane. I wasn't following, my group, which my group is Laden and Amanda with Spooky Society. And, that stuff happens to me all the time. And so,
I
it's just, um, this is something that I say, to my husband, to family, friends, is I'm a very strong-willed, independent woman, and I always have been. And like I'm gonna do my thing. Like I'm using my cane, and is my cane
Yep.
perfect? No, because I now have to use a blind cane. But if I run into something, I run into something. I bounce back. I keep going. I mean, obviously, I want people to tell me like, "Hey, there's a car," like that's important to know. Um,
that'd be nice. Yeah.
yeah, Um, but yeah, so this is something that I've had my whole life, and it will continue to deteriorate.
And I was in there when you walked into the fireplace, and I was also there that I also had the feeling of guilt. But I'm going to say I'm going to out your friends. I don't think they helped you in that situation. And I'm just going to say
I
that
had no
very,
idea.
very, yeah. I kind of felt like that they kind of led you astray there, and I'm
No,
yeah.
no,
Well, I'm just
eh,
saying. I'm
yeah.
just saying. Okay, so.
I was
Uh,
supposed to be following them, and I got distracted. They do a wonderful job guiding me and leading me around, and I have a great sense of humor about it. So they immediately are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's fine." Like I laugh about it and make a lot of jokes because I find that to me, humor is a great sense of therapy. It's a great form of therapy, and even in the paranormal world, I think sometimes people are way too serious, and we have to have humor. So I
you,
approach it.
you nailed that one on the head. And Linda in the comments says that you do have a great sense of humor,
Well,
and
thank you.
you right. I understand that you need that. but it helps. I think it helps put people at ease too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I know when to use the I'm blind versus I have a visual impairment. The language. If I'm having somebody rude at the airport, or I'll walk through, and if people are being really rude, I'll just be like, "Blind lady coming through."
That's great.
I also love keeping people guessing, because the way my vision is, people never quite know what I can and can't see, and it confuses people a lot. So I kind of get a little kick out of that, like, especially my 15-year-old daughter.
Oh, I bet that really comes in handy for that. That's
You don't know, but I can pick up on. But then, it does lead into heightened other senses.
Sure.
So that is a very accurate, that when people do lose one sense, the other ones do kick in.
It's kind of like the motto of always keep them guessing, right?
Oh yeah.
What can Meg see and what can she not see? And I bet more often than not, they're going to be surprised what you actually did see.
Correct.
So, yeah. Never underestimate, folks.
Nope.
Absolutely. So, as far as the paranormal side of it, how long had you been interested in how about a two-part question for you? How long have you been interested in the paranormal, and when did it become a point of that you actually wanted to actively be involved and actually speak to spirits and try to find stuff out?
So to answer that, what I will say, the first part is, I've had a curiosity my whole life, because I've experienced things from a very early age. And receiving message from spirit or the universe. Like, one of my earliest memories, I was 2 years old, which we can talk about that more later, but still very profound. Like, there's no way a 2-year-old would typically think something that I thought.
Sure.
And then I would say, as far as investigating, it's been growing and growing until I finally found the right group of people. So really, what has led me to take this next step and go out on investigations, it truly is LaDen and Amanda, which are my partners in the Spooky Society. And so I honestly don't know if it wouldn't have been for the two of them if I would be investigating. I mean, I'm always sensing things, experiencing things, getting messages, but to go this next step is because of them.
So you've had gifts from a young age.
Yes. Yep.
And so I mean from a young, so if you're saying you're getting messages at the age of 2, you've never known a life without them, basically.
Correct.
What areas do your gifts generally fall in?
I identify as a psychic empath.
Okay.
So there is the combination of where it kind of borders on mediumship. Like, I just get messages from spirit, from the deceased, but I'm also very sensitive to energies. So both of the living and those that are in the spirit world. So, which, does play into, my work, because I am a therapist and I can sense people's emotions and kind
of help be able to understand and maybe even take questions, maybe different directions if they're answering a way that the energy doesn't kind of betray something else.
Correct. Yep. I will call BS. But I will say, the other way I get messages is through dreams. And then just a strong knowing, like, I'll hear like a strong voice in my head. And that's when I know it's more of a spirit guide, God, universe, something higher than just a loved one.
That's really cool. I had a humdinger of a nightmare last night. It's the first nightmare I've had in I probably years, quite frankly. And it's one of those weird things. And don't worry, I'm not trying to get you to analyze it for me or anything. You're just kind of like, where is this going? But I mean, I just kind of find it odd because it actually wasn't scary, but it was still a nightmare. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Very
and
weird.
It's one of those where, when I am asleep, like, I know when I'm doing astral projection, I know when I'm being visited by a loved one. I know when I'm being visited by a negative entity, and I know the difference of when I'm having more of a prophetic dream. So
you astral project.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in those states, does the blindness go away?
Yes. And it's so funny because when I'm dreaming, there'll be times where I'm like, I'm supposed to not be able to see this, but I totally can see this. And then sometimes I will be like, oh no, I can't see. Like I will fake it in my dreams because I know I'm not like, there's that kind of split. And then there's other times that I just, just go with it. My favorite though, are when I'm flying and I know I'm like, woohoo.
I have always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do that. I got close one time. Like I can't remember his name. He would teach people through audio files how to do it.
Cool.
And one time I was doing it, I could feel like it was something was shifting with me. It actually kind of freaked me out, and I stopped. But I mean, that's a lot of concentration, isn't it? I mean, maybe not now, but up front, I would think it'd have to be quite a bit.
I'll be completely honest. It just happens to me when I'm sleeping.
Whatever.
Yeah.
This interview's over.
That's all, folks.
Yep. You don't upstage me. That's you need to read the documents I send you. But good for you. I mean,
yeah.
And I find that actually, I guess, really talking to people about it, that generally is the case. And, maybe some people just aren't meant to do that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sucks, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's really cool. Now I got to ask the question though, like with spirit talking to you, do you get intuitions of like dangers that in your daily life that maybe you cannot see, but something is trying to warn you or just protect you?
Kind of. So I will get intuitions. I call it like my spidey senses. Like something's just telling me something's not right. And so I will listen to that. If it's I am walking down the street and I'm gonna misstep and fall out, or what do they call it? I'm from Texas, but what does they call it? Biff it. No, I'm not getting those. Like, oh no, you're about to fall. Like that doesn't happen. But definitely interactions with people. Because I do. I used to take Metro Mobility a lot, taxis, Ubers, that type of thing. I get quick reads on people. People I interact with out in the community. Like I said, definitely spidey senses with parenting. I call that mama sense. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like, but you also have a very firm, control over everything as well. Just, I think just based on your personality, your strong personality.
Yeah. And I will say, like when I'm out and about and I'm picking up on energies, I'm really sensitive to negative energies, or if something's not feeling right, or a place I don't want to go into. So even like when we're at the Anderson house, or when we investigated Edinburgh Manor, or we were at Malvern Manor, like there's certain times I'm like, no, like it will be very strong. And I don't always know exactly what it is. I'm just very aware, or
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I think more paranormal investigators need to kind of listen to that in themselves as well. Personally, Meg, why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to go ahead, get our first break in.
Okay.
When we come back, I want to talk about paranormal investigating. I want to talk about places that you've been. There's one that I talked about that we're going to get to in a couple minutes here. Folks, don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea.
They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. It's that time of year again where the weather is getting nice and it's time to get out of the house for some family fun. Lilliput is the perfect place and is open for the season. Be the first to take on their newest escape room, The Bunker. It's intense, exciting, and totally unforgettable. Prefer spooky? Try the Haunted Mansion. When you're done escaping, hit the mini golf course, go-karts, and jump pads. Lilliput is perfect for parties and group events too. Visit lilliput.net for hours and start your spring adventures at Lilliput.
Support comes from Hennepin Arts, presenting Hidden Brain Perceptions Tour with Shankar Vedantam. Are there parts of our minds that are hidden from us? This question launched the Hidden Brain podcast 10 years ago. Now host and creator Shankar Vedantam brings 7 key insights from the first decade of Hidden Brain to the stage. Whether you're new to the show or a longtime listener, this evening of science and storytelling will change how you think about yourself. Tickets available at hennepinarts.org.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakken here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. And speaking of Minneapolis trolley tours, this is a great weekend to go out and go and see what the Minneapolis Trolley Tours has to offer. I've talked about it many times. I mean, obviously the haunted tours, which are pretty incredible. And I've done it a few times now. It's going to change up in July. Doesn't mean that you should wait for one to end and one to start. Just go, enjoy it. We talk about the fact that there are multiple tours that they offer there, like the Gilded Mansion I want to do, as well as a true crime, and there's one about wine, and I'm kind of all about that. And there's just there is just a fantastic experience. It's probably going to be hot this weekend. Well, guess what? It's air conditioned in the trolley tours. Air conditioned in the 300 Clifton Mansion, and folks might remember that last September we did an event out there, which we got access to one of the locations on the tour, which was pretty incredible. And then Halloween, we did a 4-hour live broadcast from the 300 Clifton, which was off the charts because it was live on Facebook Live and it was live on the air and stuff was happening. And it was really, really cool. Meanwhile, Dr. Meg over here and her friends over at Spooky Society, they also investigated 300 Clifton. And was that back in April that you did that?
It was actually on Cinco de Mayo. It was May 5th.
So May, okay. I
Yeah.
knew it was around there somewhere. How was that?
It was wonderful. So it was Laden, my husband Chris, and I had the opportunity to go there. And we have quite a bit of activity. We're still reviewing all the audio and the video, but we actually stayed in they call it like the carriage house.
Oh,
And
you were in the carriage house.
Yeah, a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And then Ladin and I stayed overnight. My husband had to come back because of the kids. But
Sure.
When she and I were doing more in the house, we were getting a lot of activity, some stuff down in the basement. There was a couple spots, or one spot in particular, where I was like, nope. I noped it.
Well, yeah.
But the owners are wonderful, a beautiful house. It's great to learn about the history, but I don't want to give anything away, but I will say there was a lot of activity.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity. John and Norman are incredible people. Did you know that they bought another mansion?
No, I did not.
It's one that they're going to be switching their trolley tours coming out of this mansion, the Pillsbury mansion. And I've been teasing it for a little while, and we're going to be doing a live investigation from there, hopefully in a week or two. And the insides, Meg, the insides of this place are from castles and estate homes from the UK from the 14 and 1600s.
Wow.
I mean, you walk in there, talk about reading energy. It's off the charts. It's going to be incredible. And don't forget, folks, 300 Clifton also does bed and breakfast. So it's a lot of fun. And like Meg says, John and Norman are wonderful, wonderful people, and they treat you very well. They really do. I've been so blessed, Meg, with some wonderful partners in this journey on this radio show, and those two are wonderful, wonderful people. I just smile when I think of them. So I'm happy that you all were able to experience that. And folks, go and do the Minneapolis trolley tours. Do them all, because they are wonderful. And please let everyone know that you heard about it through GhostBox Radio. It really help everything out. So I was so happy to see that you were out there.
Yes.
When we were there in October of also known as Halloween, I guess you can call it that as well. In layman's terms, it's Halloween on October 31st. I didn't investigate because I was running the show, and when we do these live Facebook investigations, I tend not to investigate. I like to allow other people to do it and enjoy it and stuff. We had cameras set up in all the rooms on the top floor, the two top floors with 300 Clifton. And we were getting shadows. We were seeing things. People were being touched. It was just fantastic. And Shar and Lisa, AJ, they were walking people through and doing investigations, and it's truly an experience, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Yep. Now I got I got Savannah. I'm pretty sure you know Savannah. She has a couple really good questions in the comments I'd like to read and get your thought. And first, Savannah asks, is a certain sense more stronger than others?
Okay. I would say hearing is definitely, if we're thinking about the 5 main senses, and then we have 3 more other ones, our vestibular, proprioception, and interoception. I nerd out. I would say my hearing is definitely more sensitive, and my smell.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I call my 9th sense, my woo-woo-wee sense, intuition. That's pretty heightened. So
I have, and I never remember my clairs. I never remember them. But I have my strongest is the one for smell, especially when a spirit comes.
Clair sensei, something like that. Yes.
I never can remember it. But
mine would be clairsential. Where I just know things.
Sure.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It really is, and I've said the story many times, so I'm not going to tell the whole story, but just basically, I'll know, when my dad, who passed in 2015, I know when he's around. It started the night that he had passed, so it just right there, and it's, once again, folks, don't ever think lightly when something like that happens to you. Don't ever dismiss it, because Yeah, well, you go ahead, man.
No, I should say, yeah. So for me in 2011, after my dad passed away, passed away in March, and then April, I moved back here to Minnesota because I was had a job offer, and it had to have been probably May or so of that year. And I was locking up. Everybody had left for the day. I was waiting for Metro Mobility and walked past this one spot in the office that was a fax machine. And I immediately smelled the distinct smell of my dad. And it was a combination of his certain kind of cigarettes that he smoked, beer,
Yep.
and his Old Spice, like very distinct smell. And it was one of those where it's like, that is not a smell that you normally have right here. And then whenever I used to do classes with Echo Bodine, and my dad kept coming through, and I would start like describing stuff, and people were like, no. I'm like, oh, that's my dad. I'm like, all right, Dad, shoot, I love you, bye. Like, get out of my way.
Yeah, my dad, he didn't wear cologne very often, but when he did, it'd be Stetson.
Mm-hmm.
And that would come through once in a while, and people like, what the hell is that? And it's like, I think it's my dad. I think he's wearing Stetson again. And Savannah also asked the question, does events like the Anderson House overwhelm you? And we're talking about like the January one, where there's a lot of investigators, a lot of psychics, a lot of spirit.
The answer is yes. And I have found that as I open myself up more, I get more sensitive to being overwhelmed. And so I have to be really intentional. I call it my shields activated, like on Star Wars. Yep. When am I activating my shields? When am I opening myself up? It can be very overwhelming. I'm also a social introvert, and so I'm aware of how and when I need to recharge my battery. But yes, I love the event. I love being at the Anderson House. That group was phenomenal. Had a great time at the Fair, meeting all kinds of people. But when there was a lot going on with the investigating and that day and stuff, it definitely can be overwhelming.
I find as I get older, I find being around people is quite the battle sometimes. And it's not meant to be rude to anybody, but for myself, I've spent the last month working on helping the station get their stuff ready for the big Pride broadcast we had last weekend. Now, as we head into this holiday weekend, I have people wanting to hang out with me this weekend in different avenues. And I'm just like, I love you all, but I don't want to.
Yes.
And it's hard. Do you find it's hard to explain to people people are like, but we're friends. You don't have to move. You don't have to do anything. We just want to be around you. And it's like, it's still tough.
It is. Yeah. And I will say my family and friends understand that about me, and especially with the line of work that I do. And so they get it. I'm open with it, and that's helpful. I will say too, at the Anderson House, we had a great experience investigating before everybody got there. And I would love to do that again next year and investigate after everybody leaves to see if it stirs up more energy. But I did have 2 experiences there with psychometry. And that was
Can you explain psychometry to folks?
Yes. Please? So that is when you touch an object and you start getting messages.
Wow.
And so one experience happened in the cloak room, and then the other experience happened in the dining room with an item that belonged to what was the grandma's name?
Oh, I know who you're talking. Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, so that was way cool to get to experience. So when you were talking about, the Clifton bed and breakfast, those guys now buying the Pillsbury Manor and stuff from the 14 and 1600s, that would be really cool to see.
Savannah says grandma's name is Ida.
Which yeah.
I would have said something completely different. We did an experiment at an event we did there a few years back. And she also says it still takes energy, regardless of what people say. It absolutely 100%. And yeah, I mean, and as when I was at that mansion, the Pillsbury mansion, and this isn't I don't mean this in a derogatory in a derogatory sort of way. But I mean, right away, I felt like I needed to be very careful because it was unknown energy to me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and when in your practice, in what you do for a living, do you have to be very careful not to get that energy that your clients are dispelling, and they're pouring out so that you can help them? Do you have to be very careful about not picking up any of that?
Yeah. So whether it's clients, I'm also a professor, grad school professor. So when I'm working with students, my supervisees, because I also do postgraduate supervision, even if I'm meeting with people on Zoom or telehealth, I can still feel energy through all of that.
Yes.
And, because I also do Reiki. And so I have that belief that energy isn't, limited to the room that we're actually in. I can pick up on things in other places. And so, yes, I have to be very aware of what am I giving and what am I receiving, and then what am I deflecting. And there have been certain clients or, certain individuals I've come across that I have to be, my shield has to be even firmer. But yes.
Does energy sneak in that you're maybe just, because every day is a different battle, right? Some days
Correct.
you are absolutely like, I got this. Other days I just need to get through this, but I need to help people.
Oh,
and
absolutely. And if I'm not doing grounding exercises or, like I said, putting up my shield or, whatever that might be, it definitely can sneak in on me. If I'm tired, if, there's a lot going on, I'm stressed, and then there's times too where I have to stop and be like, is this mine or is this somebody else's? Because, there's times that happens for me too.
Is it easier for someone else to ask you that? You know what I mean? Like, that you're really out of, I'm sure your friends know Meg very well. They know what you're able, and then there might be something that's a, little kind of out of character for you. And they're like,
are you okay?
Yeah.
Yes, they will. And I do appreciate when they do that. But yes.
Yeah.
Or I will say on especially when we're investigating, this is part of the reason why I love Ladin and Amanda so much, and we make such an amazing team, is that when we are investigating, they can just look over at me and they'll be like, are you okay? Are you drinking? Like, we need to go take a break, and if I'm like, okay, I need to go take a break. Like that happened when we're at Malvern Manor, and was like, okay, I gotta take a break, and towards the end of the night, Ladin's like, are you done? I'm like, She goes, it's all on you. Like, she's like, your whole energy, I can see it on your face, and so I appreciate when we are in that investigation mode that the two of them are in tune with me and I am with them. And so I think that's an important element when you are investigating, is to be with people that and trust, and and we're open to expanding, because like in July, for example, we're going to the Boyd House, and and trying new places, or obviously I trust my husband when he came with us to the Clifton House, but I know other teams have talked about maybe investigating, or we might be interested in investigating with others, but being very careful with that, because we're aware of our energies, and it's always different when you start interacting with others that you haven't investigated with.
Well, it's a reason why I don't investigate with a lot of people, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I'm very particular, and that sounds very egotistical, and I don't mean it to be. It's exactly how you just explained it. You have to. This is my energy. This is. I don't want to disrupt that, and so the people I investigate with, generally, like at the. I don't think you would have noticed that I had not been investigating at the Anderson event. I will not investigate that amongst other people. An event is not investigating either, in my opinion. And I think too, I just want to say, I think the current trend in some teams is a sort of the thrill factor, or really pushing it as far as it can go. And I find it very refreshing that is not what you and your team are about as well, because you're setting good examples that I think not everyone's going to follow, but it's good to see that is still happening as well.
Yes. And we always open up with our intentions. We come with respect for the
Yeah.
spirit world. And if they choose to interact with us, again, we want that interaction to come from a place of respect and honor.
Yeah.
We're not there to piss people off, to go to that extreme.
Yeah.
I will say when we were at the Anderson Hotel and the Edinburgh Manor, both of those investigations, I had spirit visiting me while I was asleep and being woken up by spirit. And so it's like, it's not just when you're walking around investigating, but,
No.
and then even that, having to set boundaries of like, no, I'm sleeping, or, okay, things go away now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes,
Absolutely.
definitely, we try to stay calm and, respecting if one of us says no, or I'm not comfortable with that, or I don't want to do that, respecting each other's boundaries. And I think that that's important in investigating as well.
It totally is. I need to get the break here, but
Absolutely.
Jenny from Ireland says, Dr. Meg, I've seen you on a few shows. Huge respect. I love your work. So that is very cool. We're going to take our second break here. When we come back, I want to still talk more paranormal investigating with Dr. Meg. Any questions that you have, please make sure that you put them in the comments as we're heading into our final segment. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakken here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. It's that time of year again where the weather is getting nice and it's time to get out of the house for some family fun. Lily Putt is the perfect place and is open for the season. Be the first to take on their newest escape room, The Bunker. It's intense, exciting, and totally unforgettable. Prefer spooky? Try the Haunted Mansion. When you're done escaping, hit the mini golf course, go-karts, and jump pads. Lily Putt is perfect for parties and group events too. Visit lilyputt.net for hours and start your spring adventures at Lilyputt.
All right, so you have the Minneapolis Trolley Tours. Say that you don't want to go down to Minneapolis this weekend. I understand. Lilyputt, you want to go do that. That's a wonderful family experience, either outside or inside if you're going to do the escape rooms inside. But Lilyputt has so much more than mini golf. Go to lilyputt.net. See what they have there coming out there. Go out to Coon Rapids, check it out. The weather's gonna be great for it, and it's a wonderful place. The people who run it, they are fantastic. I cannot speak more highly of them. They are just wonderful people. Now, join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken. We are going to have on author Sam Beltrusis on. We're going to be talking about the ghosts of the American Revolution. Very fascinating conversation. You know, like Meg, Sam is gifted, so he got to talk to them directly. Thursday, we're going to do a replay way back from before I was doing nightly on May 9th of 2021. I had Dr. Whitney Braun on talking about the lost portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a portrait of him that was presumably taken after he passed while he was still on his still lying in the bed at the Peterson house. Is it real? Then that's the main question. What a fascinating conversation. Friday, July 4th, we are doing an encore presentation of our episode with Sam Beltrusis. Monday, on the 7th, we had to reschedule author Jane Amison, and she's going to be on Monday talking about hauntings of the Underground Railroad. A lot of great programs coming up. We are having a really fun conversation with Meghan Williams, and boy, I have a lot of questions still, and I hope, Meg, I hope you're having a good time.
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Linda said, did Meg say she does Reiki? And it's like, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. What level are you?
A 2.
Very cool. You just do it all, don't you?
Yeah. I love learning and keeping things interesting, and yes. So
now, because I want to say you have to be a inspiration for those with disabilities. Am I being insulting by saying it like that, though?
No. I mean, I think that I have been told, let me clarify or restate that. I have been told that I am an inspiration to all kinds of people.
Sure.
And my mother-in-law loves to say I have more vision than any sighted person. And
That's
so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But when I think about like Helen Keller, right? She was a huge inspiration to all kinds of people. And I'm not comparing myself to Helen Keller, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't take eyesight in order to do all the things that I've done. And I don't allow it to stop me. So like, I do have my PhD, I do have my doctorate. A mom, I work, I teach, supervise, do all these. I love having many different things to do, a variety of things. I love doing the paranormal investigating. It's just, I'm not going to let it stop me. And so like, even when we are out on investigations, obviously a lot of times the places are dark, which is even harder for me to see. And, my team is great with being like, okay, yep, if you need a little light on, here we go. Or you just tell us what you need. Because, some of these places have stuff strewn all over the floor, or they're old and crazy.
Some don't even have
pieces.
Electricity. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Or,
amazing.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. So it's just being open to all that.
Are you writing a book?
I'm not, but I've contemplated through the years in different ones. So,
I had a voice just ask me to ask you.
Okay.
About your book.
About my book. Okay.
So I mean, I think that it's obviously been on your mind. So, I mean, that's I mean, what a great book that would be. Now, do you ever get the impression, do you ever get the thought, feeling, or even message from spirit itself that what had happened to your eyesight, what you are living with, was necessary for your spiritual and gift growth?
100%. So I'm a firm believer in past lives, and I'm aware of some of my past lives. And I have known for a long time that, again, this is just me knowing that my visual impairment was something for my soul to continue learning. Like there was something from a past life or multiple past lives that I needed to learn and grow from. So this had to have been back in 2012 or 12 or 13 when I was doing classes with Echo Bodine, and
Mhm.
we were doing a past life regression, and I saw one of my past lives where this came through, and it was quite profound. I was in Japan, and was this wise man that people came to me for guidance, insight, wisdom, and I helped all these other people, but I wouldn't be open to be vulnerable with others. And I was laying there on my deathbed, and I was all by myself. And then the moment I passed, I went into spirit, into heaven, and I was instantly surrounded by my soul family and loved ones. And I came through, I woke up, from doing this past life regression. My ears, my eyes are just streaming tears.
Yeah.
And just knowing that this is part of the reason why I have this visual impairment. And so whenever people ask me, well, is there anything they can do to cure it? I'm like, even if there is, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Has there been times I've been afraid? Yeah, I thought I would never get to see my wedding, but I did. I thought I would never get to see my children, and I've been able to. Like, I feel very blessed in that way. Now, do I have to get up close and personal with them? Absolutely. But, I'm their mama, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Will I ever drive again? No, but I'm also okay with that. So it's my outlook, and my resiliency has helped. But I do definitely believe that it's part of my soul's evolution.
Yeah.
So
I think too, saying something like I don't need to have my eyesight back is a powerful message to people that what some of us consider to be essential to survival, you're showing us that it's not.
Correct.
That you're showing us that there is so much more. One other question. We have about 4 minutes left here.
Okay.
I just it just kind of went out of my head. I was I had a good, it was a really good question, Meg. It's probably
Okay.
the best question
Yeah,
you would have
that's
ever
right.
heard in your life. Well, maybe it'll come back up here, but Carol put in the comments, thank you, Carol, for saving me. How interesting tonight. So glad you came on, Megan. I remember my question. Do you still do things with Echo Bodine? She is so interesting too.
Yes. I do not do things with her anymore. I know she has her Orapalooza, and, I used to go to all those, but nope. Now I just, stick doing my thing with, the Spooky Society. And, we have, like I said, some upcoming investigations in July, and then I believe in November. So July, we're going to the Boyd house. And then I think it's November is the Walnut House in South Dakota.
Oh, cool.
And so it's just continuing to work on deepening my abilities and experiences, and
we have about 2 minutes left, so this isn't a lot of time to answer this question. There are people who are going through, like you did. It's long drawn out vision that is being taken away. To some, it's going to be absolutely frightening and scary to them. What words of encouragement do you have for them?
I would say own your feelings, because it is scary. It is hard. It is sad. And we're living in a time when there is so much technology and resources and, things that are available out there, whether it's state services for the blind, all kinds of apps. I love my, iPhone, my computer. There's so much out there that having a visual impairment or going blind now is not what it was like, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, or longer. And don't let it stop you from doing what it is you want to do in your life. So whether it's hopping on a plane and going to South Africa to people with the people-to-people ambassadors like I did in 2005 and not knowing a soul, or going and investigating spooky places, like, go do it, live your life. Don't let it stop you. Don't become a taxi driver, but unless you have a Googled self-driving car.
I was gonna say they have the self-driving cars now. Hey, what it's all good. The Spooky Society, it's up on Facebook.
Yes, so Spooky Society, and then we're AKA Spooky Bee Society. And then you can also reach us on by email. It's spookysocietymn@gmail.com.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And Meg, it'd be great to have you back sometime and we just
I would love
chat.
to. Yeah, and talk more. Yep, absolutely.
Just talk about all sorts of things. And I mean, it's a very, I really love everything that you are doing. I mean, it's all about living life at the end of the day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It just, no matter where. Janet says in the comments, thanks for being you, Megan. Great info shared in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we've had someone from Halifax tonight. Janet comes on occasion. Jenny from Ireland. So this is a global radio show tonight. Meg, you brought people together all around the world.
Wonderful.
Right?
Thank you.
It's very, very fun, very cool. And then we'll just we'll stay in touch about everything else. I just want to say real fast before we head out, this is my last live show of the week. Sam and I talked last week, but it'll still be a new episode. So please listen. It was fantastic talking about the American Revolution. Everybody, I adore you all as always. Please take care of yourself this weekend. We're going to be back with Sam tomorrow. Monday, we're going to be talking to Jane Amison about Ghosts in the Underground Railroad. Everyone, I value every one of you. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week.